In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the stress about being an activity director during COVID and some of the things that it leads to, such as creative burnout, physical burnout, and sometimes just being at a complete loss. Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Polo on Paper. So since everything with COVID started, I found myself having to find a lot more things online as far as researching what I should do, simple activities that I want to do with my residents, just to try and keep things fresh and new as much as I possibly can. But what I've noticed, and not just with myself, but with other activity directors online, is that everyone is kind of simultaneously hitting this wall. People are getting tired of having to do this all the time. They're finding themselves not having the energy, and they're just at a complete loss. So I want to talk to you guys about some of the things that I feel we have to do as activity directors in order to try and overcome these things. Some of the things I'm going to say, some people might not agree with because it does kind of go against what a lot of people on social media are posting right now about how they do their own programs. But to be frankly honest, a lot of things I feel are not necessary at this point, especially if they are burning you out in the long run. So one of the most critical people in my support group as an activity director that I've been using, especially throughout COVID, is my consultant who is provided through my company. Her name is Deb. Hi Deb. If you out there are watching this and your consultant is Deb Connery, I guess that makes us like professional brothers and sisters or something. If you have a consultant, I highly recommend that you use them as much as possible. I know that some people think that their consultant is there to tell them everything they're doing wrong, which, yes, technically that is their job, but they're actually trying to save you from getting any sort of tags in the future. They're trying to make sure that you have the best activities program possible. So I don't choose to see Deb as my enemy. I choose to see her as, like, she's my Yoda, I guess. So whenever I don't know what I'm doing, whenever I feel lost, whenever I just need ideas as far as special days, special parties, or if I feel like something that I am doing is lacking, I go to Deb. And she has so much experience. Not just that, I'm one person that she consults. She consults a lot of people in a lot of states. And she has all this experience. And not just that, she gets to see what other activity directors are doing in other areas. She kind of cherry picks through their ideas and tell me about the ones that she believes will work with me and my facility. So I think one of the most important things to realize is that you're not alone in this. There is plenty of other directors and consultants. Even your administrator might have been someone who started in activities and worked their way up to administration. Use as many sources as you can. I think the moment you start thinking about it as you versus everyone else is the moment that you're going to lose, because it is literally a losing battle. So that's why I think it's very important for me to use my consultant as well as my staff. I know not everyone out there has staff, but if you do, please don't sell them short. Your staff is on the floor, they are seeing what's going on with the residents, they know what's working, they know what's not working. The more you involve them in creating the calendar, the better your calendar will be. Not just because they know what works and what doesn't work, but if you create a calendar with your staff and they are doing things that they like, they are more likely to succeed. Because if they're having fun with what they're doing, the residents are going to have fun following the instructions. I mean, I can't expect my staff to be good activity professionals if I'm not trying to be the best activity professional that I can be, so that they can kind of go off of what I do. One of the biggest things that I've noticed that has been kind of feeding into this negativity of activity directors is that we have a lot of directors who are spending a lot of time decorating their carts and making them like these big extravagant things. I've done a few myself, but I think I've done it maybe like once a week, maybe once every other week. And I know there's other directors that do it like almost every day. And I feel like, and let's do some real talk. The reason I don't spend too much time decorating the carts is because a lot of the residents are in their room, in their recliner, in their bed. I can't bring the cart to them, and unless the resident can transfer themselves into their chair to go look out the door, which most of them aren't going to want to do that, the cart is going to get seen but maybe 50% of the residents. And I just feel like the hour and a half that you spent decorating the cart could have been spent with your residents, doing one-on-ones, taking them outside, doing their nails, what have you. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't decorate your carts at all. Now, I've decorated my carts several times. Just a few weeks ago, I did a carousel that actually spun so that we could pass out popcorn. I've decorated like red, white, and blue for the 4th of July. I've done all pink for Mother's Day. I just feel like some directors are trying to do so much every single day. They are running themselves ragged. And one of the most important things that people in corporate have told me is that in order for you to fill other people's cup, you first have to fill your own. Meaning, if you're running yourself ragged, it is going to show. You cannot be the person trying to keep everyone positive and happy if you are not positive and happy yourself. And I think the reason why the cart decorating kind of, I don't want to say bothers me, but for lack of a better word, bothers me, is because when all this happened, I knew that eventually residents might not be allowed out of their room. Some residents might not be allowed outside. I might not be allowed into certain residence rooms, depending on how bad things got. So I wanted to make sure that my calendar was back to basics. How do I meet everything that I need to meet as far as, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, all those categories we have to provide for the residents while keeping the calendar as simple as possible. Because I went from being able to do, let's say, bingo. I used to have 25 people come to bingo Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now I can only have up to like 6 people, which means that I gotta play for 45 minutes here, and then we move over here and play for 45 minutes here, and then we move over there and play for 45 minutes there. So this bingo game that could have taken an hour now is gonna take me upwards of 2.5 hours just to do. So I wanted to think of how can I provide for these residents the highest quality of activities while maintaining it as simple as possible. One of the things that stuck out to me when I was in high school was one of my teachers, one of my favorite teachers, hi Mrs. Carval, told me that when she planned out all of our lessons for school, she kept the mantra of keep it simple, stupid, in her head. And keep it simple, stupid just means that you want to make it as simple as possible. The more you complicate it, the worse things can go, or the more things there is to mess up. So for example, with the residents, what is the simplest, most direct way that you can fulfill all these things that you want to fulfill for them while still keeping them happy? I mean, for some of my residents, they just want to go outside. They don't want to do a game. They don't want to do trivia. They don't want any of that. They want to go outside, soak up the sun, maybe talk to each other, talk to me. So I just take a picture of iced tea out there with us. We sit out there for a half an hour. They tell me about when they used to be farmers, or when they tell me when this one used to own a hotel and what they used to do. And, they love it because it gives them some sort of normalcy. So just the other day, we had a local company donate 4 dozen ears of corn. So, the residents were very excited. So what we did was we had them husk the corn, and they had so much fun telling us about all the corn boils that they used to go to. Some of them were farmers, so this was second nature to them. They were husking corn like it was nothing. We had about 8 residents come out, and it took them about 45 minutes to husk these 4 dozen pieces of corn. Then I took them to the kitchen, boiled them with butter, and then for our afternoon activity, we went around and passed them out to everybody. We had residents who had 6 pieces of corn. It was one of those things that I never even really thought about in my head as being an activity. But when I saw how much happiness it brought to the residents, it was how did I not think about it? It is so simple. It's a reminder of what their life was or what they used to do when they were my age. Another reason why I didn't think about it, I think, is because the idea of chucking a bunch of corn with my friends just so we can boil it and eat it sounds like a nightmare to me. I'd rather just go to be a elote man and But they got to have fun, they got to socialize, and they got to eat corn. So win, win, win. I think everybody gets so caught up in the idea of, because we are in such hard times, we have to make every single day special for the residents. And I don't really agree with that, because if every single day is special, then are they really that special? I guess for me, I'm aspiring to give the residents a sense of normalcy, which is what things like sitting outside, just talking with friends, trucking corn, even just like doing their nails, getting their hair done, simple things like that. Like, they bring such a sense of normalcy. With some of my memory care residents, we just have them fold laundry. Or one of the biggest activities that my residents are really into right now is when we sit in the hallway 6 feet apart, and I just put music on for them. I take the Bluetooth speaker out with us, I ask them what kind of music they want to listen to, and then we reminisce about how they met this singer, or they went to this concert, or one time they met this specific actor and they used that song in their movie. And it's just, when they get to talk about those things, when they get to socialize with each other, they just light up. Like, their faces just light up and change. And I think that's what I have to remind myself, is just, they're not looking for anything spectacular. They're just looking for normalcy. And I think as long as you keep it that simple, then I think you can have a successful activity program. I still try to make special days. I say in my calendar, I try and have at least one sort of food or treat day a week. Maybe one sort of special activity. It kind of depends on the month or what the theme of the month is. But I think it's also important to remember that you have to take care of yourself. And you take care of your staff if you have staff. I've noticed so many more people who are developing symptoms of anxiety and depression. And I don't mean necessarily the residents, I mean just people out here in my everyday life, because of everything that's going on. I don't want to sound like the millennial, but self-care is important, especially in the type of position that we are working in. And not even just activity directors, CNAs, nurses, administrators, the front desk people, business office people. Our work is to take care of others. How can you take care of others if you refuse to take care of yourself? Sometimes taking care of yourself is as simple as taking the day off when you need it. I'm actually in the middle of a 4-day vacation that I had to take. I was finding myself getting more anxious, and I just emailed my administrator and I said, hey, listen, I need to take some days off. From this day to this day, I need off. She said, cool, signed off on it. I think it's important to be able to recognize when you need to step back and take a break. Because I know a lot of you guys feel guilty when you don't give your residents your 100% every single time, but that's just not realistic. You're not going to feel great every single day. You're not going to have the energy every single day. And the more you ignore that and the more you try to push through it, the more damage you are going to do to yourself, emotionally, mentally, physically, in the end. I mean, I guess that's just how I feel about the situation. If you guys feel differently, or if you agree with me, leave some comments. Let us start a conversation about how we feel. Maybe even just having the conversation will help everybody to deal with the stress of what's going on. I look forward to hearing from you guys. If you liked today's video, make sure that you like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. You can also follow me on Instagram on @ApolyLook. There, I post some of my upcoming projects and any videos I'll be posting on here. If you didn't like today's video, then maybe you need to take a couple days off, do because you're an activity director. You're supposed to be happy and enjoying everything. Self-care. Okay, bye.